Terrence McGinnis, DCAU, Batman. Terry McGinnis Wayne adopted the identity of Batman in the future following Bruce Wayne's retirement from the role. Like his predecessor and mentor, he fought crime and injustice in Gotham City and elsewhere for many years. Terry McGinnis is the second Batman, the successor of the Bruce Wayne. He protects Neo-Gotham in a cyberpunk future. History. Genetic origins. During her encounters with the Justice League, Amanda Waller particularly developed an admiration for Batman and came to believe that someone like the Dark Knight would always be needed. While watching Batman age, Waller realized he wouldn't be around forever and the Dark Knight would either have to retire or be killed at some point. Drawing on her old Cadmus contacts, Waller began Project Batman Beyond, a scheme to give Batman a genetic son who would likewise be compelled to take up a life as his successor. After obtaining a sample of Batman's DNA, a young couple was later found that were almost identical psychological matches to Batman's father and mother, Warren and Mary McGinnis. During an apparent routine flu inoculation, Warren was actually administered a nanotech solution that overwrote his reproductive DNA with Bruce Wayne's. A year later, Terry McGinnis was born, the genetic son of Mary and Bruce. As genetics were not enough a factor in creating another Batman, Waller later hired an assassin to murder McGinnis's parents at the same age and under very similar circumstances as his predecessor to try to recreate these conditions. The hired assassin, Wayne's former romance Andrea Beaumont, recognized what the murders had done to Wayne and subjecting another child to the same horrors would be hypocritical for their cause. Beaumont heavily argued with Waller, with the latter realizing she had crossed a line, so she cancelled the project. Rough youth. Sometime after his brother was born and his parents divorced, McGinnis turned to be a juvenile delinquent with Charlie Big Time Bigelow and then became a member of a street gang run by Bigelow and had his fair share of run-ins with the Gotham Police Department in his early teens, even serving a 3-month stint in juvenile hall. As he returned to high school, however, he shed some of his worst habits and acquired Dana Tan as a girlfriend. McGinnis still had trouble relating to his father Warren, accusing him of being irresponsible. On what proved to be the last night of Warren's life, McGinnis stormed out of the house after an argument. While defending Dana from another street gang, McGinnis found himself being chased by them to the outskirts of Gotham City. He fled onto the grounds of Wayne Manor, where an aged Bruce Wayne appeared and assisted him in defeating the Jokers. The strain of the fight placed substantial stress on Wayne's heart and he collapsed. Terry helped Wayne into the mansion and then stumbled upon the entrance to the Batcave. Bruce kicked Terry out, but Terry returned home to find it covered in Joker's graffiti and discovered his father had been murdered. Grief-stricken, Terry looked through his father's belongings and found a disc that Warren had taken from his employer, Derek Powers, the new head of Wayne Powers. Realizing there was more to his father's death than first appeared, Terry rushed back to Wayne Manor and demanded to be let in. As Bruce examined the disc in the Batcave, Terry noticed the latest generation batsuit Wayne had used before retiring. The disc revealed that Powers was making a deadly nerve gas to sell to the government of Casnia, but Bruce refused to get involved and ordered Terry to go to the police. On the way, Terry encountered Powers himself, who knew the disc had to be somewhere and it was taken. Terry managed to escape from him, however, and ran off. Returning to Wayne Manor, he tied up Ace and stole the batsuit. When Bruce discovered the theft, he admonished Terry through the suit's communicator, but Terry was adamant on confronting Powers. Bruce retaliated by shutting the suit down, in the middle of a confrontation with Powers' security guards. Terry pleaded with Bruce for a chance to prove himself and persuaded Wayne to reactivate the suit and let him carry on as Batman for the time being. Bruce's decision resulted in Terry sabotaging Powers' operation. The stores of the chemical weapon were lost in the Gotham River, along with Mr. Fix, Powers' henchman and Warren's murderer, while Powers himself was inadvertently exposed to his own weapon. Convinced that there was still a need for a Batman, Bruce visited Terry early one morning at their home and under the pretext of paying back a previous act of kindness hired Terry as his personal assistant. Terry would run various errands and took care of various tasks for Bruce in his civilian identity. In part, this was a cover for secretly training him as Gotham's new Dark Knight. Terry's job also allowed him to earn much-needed money to help support his family since his father's death. Crime-fighting career. Terry McGinnis quickly found himself walking in the footsteps of his mentor in many ways. Like his predecessor, Batman amassed his own rogues gallery of villains, including Blight, Derek Powers' mutated form after radiation therapy, the shape-changing Ink, the telekinetic high school nerd, Willie Watt, sound engineer, Shriek, the Royal Flush Gang, former psychologist, Spellbinder and the assassin, Karari. At one time, Terry also found himself taking after his mentor in getting entangled without meaning to with a woman who was in reality a criminal, Melanie Walker. After this encounter, Bruce related by telling Terry of his own complicated relationship with Selina Kyle. Terry also gained a collection of allies. These included Barbara Gordon, the commissioner of the Gotham Police Department, despite initially facing a hostile reception from her due to her old resentment towards Bruce, eventually proving his capabilities to her. Terry's most valuable ally by far was school friend, Maxine Max Gibson, stumbling on his secret identity when they were both threatened by a rogue student and turned her considerable brains and energy to his aid. Max had first-class skills with research, data retrieval, and computer hacking. More than that, she helped Terry maintain his normal life as a high school student and was always there with a sympathetic ear, as Terry jokingly called her his Alfred after she ordered him never to address her as Robin. But, Terry was different from Bruce in many ways. Unlike his mentor, he had a childhood, of sorts, and also faced the demands of a normal youth his age, a school career, his girlfriend, Dana Tan, and the responsibilities of an eldest son in a family which included his mother, Mary McGinnis, and his kid brother, Matt McGinnis. Although it was often a greater strain for him to maintain his secret life with Mary, Matt and Dana, Terry was able to find a source of solace with Bruce, Barbara, Max and Ace. Batman occasionally faced some of his predecessor's old enemies, including Mr. Freeze, now in a new body and suit equipped with freeze gun gauntlets, a group of super-strong teenagers using slappers made from Bane's venom, the Longevous, Ra's al Ghul, and somewhat inevitably, the reborn Joker himself, who was his mentor's greatest enemy and who would also prove to be Batman's greatest challenge. Having cheated death by transferring his consciousness into a microchip implanted on Tim Drake, Joker returned to menace the new Batman by combining all his old cunning and dangerous unpredictability with a much stronger genetically engineered body, Tim's wealth of technical knowledge and martial training as Robin. At first, the young Dark Knight and the old clown Prince of Crime both made the mistake of underestimating each other. Batman dismissed the clown as an ineffective prankster, while Joker dismissed the Batfake as a rank amateur dependent on advice from his elderly predecessor. Both were proven incorrect, but Batman turned the former into a truism to win the day, putting a final end to Joker. This earned him the heartfelt respect not only of Bruce, but also of Barbara and Tim. Although he came to prefer operating alone like his predecessor, Batman was once offered membership in the Justice League Unlimited by Superman. Though he may have been more tempted than his predecessor was at the time, Batman eventually declined, put off by the other Leaguers' willingness to endanger his life. In the process, however, Batman almost single-handedly saved Superman and in turn the world from an alien invasion, likewise earning the respect of the JLU. Batman eventually later joined their ranks. True lineage. He continued to don the cowl for the next 15 years after finishing high school. Bruce eventually trusted him enough to continue Batman's crusade against crime on his own. Dana also learned of his secret, and their relationship persevered despite his concerns that her being with him put her in danger. He also became a respected member of the JLU, appearing to lead the group in Superman's absence. When he was 31 years old, Terry discovered a shocking truth. When Bruce's failing health required a tissue donor so kidneys could be cloned for transplant, Terry was checked for compatibility and was told he was a perfect match. This led Terry to investigate, discovering that he was Batman's genetic son all along. Disillusioned, he believed that his whole life had been a lie, that Bruce had planned everything from the beginning and trapped him into becoming Batman. He even imagined leaving Bruce for good, breaking up with Dana, and eventually resigning as Batman. However, Amanda Waller told him the truth about Project Batman Beyond. Waller would go on to tell Terry that his life was still his to choose, but he was worthy of being Batman. Waller emphasized he was not Batman's mere clone, but his son. While Waller admitted Terry's intelligence is not on par with Bruce's, he was every bit as compassionate and devoted to justice. She advised Terry that should he want to live a better life than his predecessor, to do so by taking care of his loved ones, and reiterated that it was and always would be his choice. With renewed purpose and perspective, Terry accepted his lineage, prepared to propose to Dana, and resumed the role of Batman. Abilities. Though he did not possess anything close to Bruce Wayne's years of training in martial arts and the science of detection, Terry McGinnis was an able street fighter and an agile gymnast before taking up the Batman mantle. He is also a skilled wrestler and was once part of his school's wrestling team until he was kicked out for using a cheating move on his bully Nelson Nash after the latter spit on him. Initially, the Batsuit gave him several advantages in battle, including flight, enhanced strength, and protection from attack. However, he engaged in regular and rigorous training to ensure he did not become completely dependent on it, and soon developed an Olympic-level physique and lightning-quick reflexes. Terry was also somewhat less dependent on the formal fighting styles Bruce had employed in his day, and quite willing to use dirty tricks whenever necessary, a fact mentioned by the Joker after literally being hit below the belt. Terry received further training from Kairi Tanaga, who commented that one of his weaknesses was a tendency to lower his guard on the left side much like his mentor before him. Terry also extensively studied Bruce's crime-fighting archives to develop his skills at medicine, mechanics, and investigation. Though he was not formally trained as a detective, he had above-average intelligence and often made intuitive leaps that surprised his mentor. Due to his past as a delinquent, Terry was also very street-smart, which enabled him to go undercover in many situations and often talk his way out of a tight fix. Probably his most important strength was the realization that he did not have to be just like the old Batman, but had talents the other didn't possess. The most shining example of this was shown during his confrontation with the Joker, when Terry, who as Batman often quipped, unsettled the villain through mind games instead of physical combat, taunting the Joker with biting wit and finally laughing at the Joker, something that was beyond the old Batman, enraging the latter and creating an opening for him to finally defeat and destroy him once and for all. Abilities: acrobatics, aviation, aerial combat, driving, gymnastics, hand-to-hand combat, advanced, indomitable will, lock-picking, stealth, surveillance, tactical analysis, weaponry, gadgetry, throwing, paraphernalia, equipment. Batsuit, state-of-the-art batsuit, which automatically conforms to his size. The batsuit features new gadgets such as glider wings, thrusters on the boots, and even a cloaking device. Enhanced strength by a factor of 10, ultimately allowing him to lift up to 1,700 pounds. Minimal reduction, or increase, in flexibility. Forearm spikes can extend out. Enhanced visual assistance that allows him to see in the dark. Visual from the Batsuit can be fed back to the main computer in the Batcave. It can also receive visual from the main computer, allowing for superior tactical planning. The visor can also serve as digital binoculars and an infrared filter as well as a scanner. Personal communicator allows Terry to keep in constant contact with Bruce at the Batcave. Superhuman durability. Enhanced ballistic protection. Significantly resistant to heat, electricity, water, and vibrations, but only slightly resistant to radiation. Built-in rebreather for underwater combat/exploration. Dispensable batarangs with a range of auxiliary functions, such as producing electric shocks. However, there is a limit to the amount of batarangs the Batsuit can dispense. Batman has run out on at least one occasion. Disc can be fired from the top of the wrist. Electroblast, electrical discharges throughout the suit that can be activated by pushing the button on the belt. Geiger counter. Bolus. Old grappling gun. Energy projection, wrist-mounted laser capable of melting metal and stunning his opponents. Grappling guns built into the forearms. Fire extinguisher capsules. Tranq darts. Bugs. Scanner. Communicator. Flashbang grenades. Smoke pellets. Knockout gas pellets. Flexicuffs. A lock decipher. Launchable tracers. A frequency scanner to pick up hotspots. A retractable pin or password decipher in the form of a key on the right index finger. Flight. Wings, retractable wings under the arms to glide on. Rocket boots enabling limited flight. Adhesion electromagnetic pads in the soles of the boots enabling him to cling to walls and ceilings. Sensitive touch microphone on index and middle fingers that permits eavesdropping through solid surfaces. Sensors that work as a polygraph. Drug identifier used by dipping fingers into the substance. Invisibility, built-in cloaking device that enables almost complete camouflage. It allows camouflage extending into the visible light and infrared frequencies of the electromagnetic spectrum. A countermeasure used by Commissioner Barbara Gordon to this in one incident where she was hunting Batman down was through tracking him using an ultraviolet light to illuminate him. Claws, retractable claws, which can be used to slice or facilitate climbing. Can uplink with the Batmobile for remote piloting. A remote kill function that can externally deactivate the suit from the Batcave. The belt buckle also serves as a buzzsaw to get out of a room quickly or to cut through denser material. Transportation. Batmobile. Weapons. Batarangs. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.